What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to Revision Online's Wednesday Night Live from wherever you are. Tonight is our last night of Zoom groups for this session, but it's not the last night of Wednesday Night Live. We're going to be here every Wednesday at 6:30 all summer long, and tonight we're actually kicking off a new series of short thoughts about this little collection of Jesus' sayings or teachings found in Matthew 5, 3 through 12 that we call the Beatitudes. And you could preach like a few month series on Sunday mornings about this passage, and someday we will because it's awesome, transformative stuff. But for Wednesday Night Live, we're gonna boil it down to like the 5-minute quick hit version of what Jesus was talking about when he said this stuff and what it means for our lives. And we're gonna talk about one of these Beatitudes every week. But before we jump into the first one, just a little background on what's going on in Matthew 5 and what in the world Beatitude means. Matthew 5, it's the beginning of the greatest sermon in the history of the world. This big old crowd gathers around to listen to Jesus. So he walks up on a hillside and he begins to teach them about the kingdom of God. And the stuff that he says is mind-blowing, countercultural, amazing stuff. It's a picture of like who God is and who we were made to be and how we can live into that even in the middle of a shattered world. And he kicks off that sermon with these 8 little sayings that totally turn everybody's world upside down. And they all begin with a phrase that in English we translate blessed are, or blessed are. Blessed are the people who. And the Latin word for blessed is beatus, which is why they're called the Beatitudes, the blessed ares. But the Greek word in the original text of Matthew is actually makarios. And makarios means blessed, but it's more holistic than that. It's a little deeper than like the social media hashtag we see thrown around pretty liberally these days. Like new Blizzard flavor at Dairy Queen, hashtag blessed, Instagram. It's not quite that. I mean, sort of, but it's bigger. It's about being truly happy, joyful, divinely blessed in a way where your soul is at peace. It's similar to the Hebrew concept of shalom, nothing missing, nothing broken. So Jesus is going to say, if you got the following stuff going on, you are makarios, happy, divinely blessed, nothing's missing and nothing's broken in your life. And if we didn't know any better, certainly the original audience, the original crowd didn't know any better, we'd be sitting around waiting for him to say stuff like, blessed are the rich, makarios are the healthy, happy are the popular, filled are the strong. Like blessed in a way where nothing's missing and nothing's broken are those people who have everything the world says they need. But Jesus is Jesus. So of course he doesn't say that at all. Instead, he says this like ridiculous and shocking stuff that seems to be almost the opposite of what we'd guess if he gave us like a fill in the blank quiz on what makes somebody blessed. And in the process of saying this stuff, he gives us a bigger picture of what God's kingdom is all about and how we can find meaning and joy. Like the meaning and joy we were created for, despite the messed up circumstances that surround us. And here's what we got to understand as we jump into this. These statements are not just factual observations. Jesus isn't just saying like, these people are blessed, that's how it is. Jesus is inviting us to become these kind of people. He's telling us this is who you were made to be. This is the pathway to the deepest longings of your soul. This is how you live a better story. So the first one is this. Jesus stands up on the hillside. He looks down at that giant crowd of people and he says, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Like the poor in spirit? I don't know, Jesus, I don't want to be poor in anything. Being poor doesn't feel very happy, and it doesn't feel very peaceful, and it doesn't feel very blessed. Like, Jesus, what do you mean blessed are the poor in spirit? Well, here's what Jesus means. We find peace and fullness when we acknowledge our brokenness and our emptiness. When we're able to step back and take a look at the reality of our condition, like the bankruptcy of our own souls outside of Jesus, then we can come to him empty and allow him to fill us. If we think we have something to offer, if we think Jesus died for us because we're good enough or we checked enough religious boxes and we merited our own salvation, then we tragically missed it. We're coming to God believing that we're rich in spirit, convinced that we have something to offer him, and we're wrong. Let's be real though, we want to believe that. I want to believe that. There's like this part of me deep down that really wants to believe God forgives me because I'm good. Or at least God forgives me because I'm sorry about the times and places where I'm not good. Because my self-esteem is on the line. My pride is at stake here. I gotta believe at least a little bit that I bring something to the table in my own salvation, right? Because I'm an American. That's what we do. We do self-reliance. We do self-sufficiency. That's how it works here. And Jesus says, yeah, but that's not how it actually works. That's not how things really are in the kingdom of God. To find fullness, to live into the story and create the future I made you for, you gotta start by giving up your desire to be self-reliant. And your sense that you gotta do something to earn it. This thing inside you that wants to believe you've merited your salvation. You can't start this journey full. You got to start empty. I didn't step out of eternity into the human story and die so you could feel better or feel more capable in and of yourself. I did it because you were completely helpless and hopeless and hurting, and only I could make a way from where you were to where I made you to be. I did it because I love you. And really understanding that love, finding a home in the kingdom that's defined by that love begins with admitting you're helpless and hurting. And Jesus says you got to admit you're helpless and hurting and trust that I am the helper of the helpless and the healer of the hurting. Guys, we're desperate for Jesus. We got nothing without him. And when we can see that and we can come to him with empty hands, completely reliant and dependent, he will take what's empty and fill it. That's what it means to be poor in spirit. And that's why Jesus says, ultimately, the poor in spirit will be blessed because they will inherit the kingdom of God.